Hey there, Tarot Tubers, Tarot and Witchery here, and there are just so many cool tags rolling around, so I'm going to start rolling some of them out here. This one is Trick or Treat Decks by Afton with a Z, so this is a VR to that. And I found these prompts super fun. It's a little chaotic in here, it looks okay back here, but I'm actually redoing all of the tarot, so wow, this is going to be interesting for me digging through the piles that I have right now. But let's get into it because there's a lot of questions. First up on the list is the deck that is a trick, a deck that always seems a bit mischievous, and I have chosen Patrick Valenza's Triunfo de la Luna Aquedoxical version. And I have a couple different versions of this deck. Oops, that's one of the last cards I chose. So this deck is just kind of cheeky, the imagery in it. But the other thing that makes it a little bit tricksy is the fact that there are multiples of the same card, like different renditions that you can stick in here. And instead of like me going through and taking that out and choosing the one that I want, I have left them in. So, you know, I could get the devil more than once in a reading. But it's just funny, it's quirky, it's fun. One of the things I love about this deck is that it is a narrow deck that's a little bit longer, which is super fun. It just has that, you know, old-fashioned feel. I love the color. I chose the Aquedoxical. I also have like the black one, and I have one other version as well. But this is the one that I really enjoy working with, and I feel like it just is a little mischievous. It has these funky little moments that it pulls out, and it's got some really pippy cards that don't have any words on it, so it makes me think. Yeah, and I really enjoy that about this cheeky little deck. Next prompt is the Treat, a deck you gorge on once a year, and for me that is the Tarot de Carlotides. I got this deck for myself before I went on my trip to Spain and Portugal. Again, it's another thin deck. It's definitely smaller than the Triumphi, but yeah, it's really a treat for me, and they're not going to be all right side up. But I love the imagery of this. I just really enjoy it, and it seems like just once a year I pull this out. It's usually in fall because that's when I was working with it, and it just reminds me of that time. But it's nostalgic for me. I love the imagery, but it's not something that I want to read with every single day or month. And it's just kind of fun to keep it in the background and pull it out just once a year and kind of use it for a couple weeks and just kind of gorge on it. And it's such an easy reader for me. I've really grooved it, and it has its own little flavor. It really is a treat. Next up is the Bat, a deck that flies over your head, and without a doubt, it's the Somnia Tarot by Nicholas Bruno. I bought this deck when I was at the height of my absolutely gorging and buying ridiculous amounts of decks, and it's just really intense. I think the thing is that some people, they just dove into this deck and they loved it. They just had this time where it was amazing, and they dove into it, and they really got into it, and they bought the book that went with it. I did not. But it just takes so much work for me to read with this tarot that I find myself, if I'm going to use this, I have to use it kind of like an oracle, because I just get tripped up by the imagery. Some of them are really great, but for the most part, this is definitely the deck that flies over my head. I mean, it's a beautiful deck. The cardstock's amazing. I love the backs on it. I mean, it's really just very lovely cardstock, and it's so imaginative, and the principle behind it is fabulous, and I'm glad I have it in my collection, but it is one that I've just never quite gotten a hold of. Number 4 is the Crystal Ball, the deck that always reveals something from the mist. And I've chosen the Fantastical Creatures Tarot. And why do they do this with the names on these? US Games is terrible about this. It's not on the box, which is super annoying. This is illustrated by Lisa Hunt, and the book is written by DJ Conway. This deck, wow. I mean, look at it. It is just jam-packed full of imagery. And what's really cool is it has all these fantastical creatures that I don't always know very much about. And so you do like this little book. It just seems like a little white book, but it actually has great stuff in it, and it gives me jumping off points. What makes this revealing is that because I am not familiar with the imagery in these cards, I find myself really open and surprised by what comes forward. Even just using the cards as they are. I mean, look at this thing. It's crazy. Even just using the cards as they are and going off the imagery and not the words on there is fascinating to me. And I feel like DJ Conway did a great job with the book itself. It really does just bring things forward from the mystical place, from that sort of semi-occluded place. The myths are a place where we take one step at a time. We're not exactly sure where we're going. And as a result, we have to just go slowly, and things are only revealed when we're kind of right up on them. And this deck definitely does that. Fantastical Creatures Tarot. Next up is the Spider's Web, a deck that ensnares you in the tale it spins. And I have chosen the Brady Tarot. This is the last guidebook that Rachel Pollack wrote, and this is done by Emmy Brady. These are like woodblock prints. This deck is really, really lovely. I'm sure it's not all upright. We'll find out as we go along. And how this ensnares me in the tale that it spins is that there's something really like ancestral about this deck. It kind of pulls me off and into myself. It feels tribal. It just feels really grounded. And so that's the first thing that happens, is the images pull me into something that feels very grounded. And then I'm able to kind of dive into the story that's in that grounded place. I'm sorry, a bunch of these are upside down. It's such a pretty deck. I love the feel of these cards too. So there's something textural about it where I will pick the card up and look at the story that's going on. And it has these keywords on there as well. So like we have the 9 of Arrows here, and it's anguish. And you can see the broken eggs down here. So there's like a story that emerges, and then it causes me to kind of dig into my own story and what's going on. This is such a lovely deck. I don't know that you can still get it, but if you can, it's one that I would definitely recommend getting your hot little hands on. I think there's something really beautiful about being swept up in our stories, and a deck that can do that is, I think, a profound gift. Next up is the Potion, a deck that's not super appetizing, but you know it works. And this is an Oracle deck. It's by Nicholas McIntosh. And it's the Celtic Spirit Oracle. When I first got this, I just didn't really like it that much. And then I was teaching a class, and I brought this with me because I thought, oh, if I lose some of it, I don't care. Although I did edge it. And then everybody was like, wow, this is so great. And as I was working with everyone with it, I thought, man, this, it's not super appetizing. It's not the normal kind of deck that I would choose. I tend to like things that are a little bit more colorful than this, but it gets the job done. And when I need something, like especially jumping off cards, these are great. Strength, Sacred Waters. Then you've got these words below. So, Master of the Hunt, Speed, Masculinity, Flow, Rest, Stop, Recharge, Self-Care. So it's not so much the pictures, although they're okay. It's the words themselves. And I find this deck just really does get it done. Next up is the Cauldron, a deck that makes you feel like you're brewing up something witchy. Another Oracle deck, Mists of Avalon by Rose and Sarah, and illustrated by Nadia Turner. I just love this deck. I mean, I love the Avalonian myths, and this deck is just great, and it just appeals to my romantic side of what it feels like to be witchy, like I'm brewing something up. It's also, I mean, Avalonian myths are one of the main deities is Caradwen, so it's really about the cauldron, but also the grail. I love how this deck works. It has these keywords on here that you can use, and so you can actually just have this in the center and draw a card for each one of these keywords. I enjoy the imagery on this. I love the color saturation, the palette, all of it is right up my alley. This is definitely makes me feel like I'm brewing up something witchy. Number 7, the Jack-o'-lantern, a deck that makes you want to divine by candlelight. Yes, Circle of Doors Tarot. Oh my goodness, this is such a soul deck for me. I love this deck. This was sent to me. I didn't even know it existed and that I needed it, but I did. Oh, it's beautiful. It's kind of this layered, it's photography that's layered, and so it just come like things just come forward. I love that it has keywords on the bottom of it. It's just so mystical. This is like my priestess deck. This is the deck that makes me feel like I'm just digging in. I love this face on this one here on the world. It's just beautiful. They call it the universe here. It's just gorgeous. There's something about this deck that it's like, okay, let's break out the candles, put on a robe, and get into divining through the cards. The book is fabulous. It's got this little piece of poetry here, and then the main ideas, and then it's got about the card, which always takes my mind in just some really far off place that feels ancient and yet, I don't know, grounded in ancient ways, yet modern, like for this day. And then it has an affirmation. The Circle of Doors Tarot, and, oh, I didn't say who it was by, sorry. Circle of Doors Tarot by Anne Stavely, Jill Sutherland, and the guidebook is by Brian Duffy. This is amazing deck, amazing deck. Next up is the Black Cat, a deck that lurks around the edges of your collection. The reason why I chose this is because this deck, to me, cuts deep. It's a very visceral tarot, and so I have to kind of be up for it. So this, oh, wow, sorry you guys, this is just terrible. This deck, it's got that real 1970s feel. All right, I think that's better. So yeah, this is like a 1970s sort of tarot, which harkens back to my childhood. I was born in 72. So I don't know, it goes deep, but there's something about this deck that it doesn't pull any punches. So it just kind of lingers out there. And then there's these times where I'm like, okay, I just need to know that I know that I know. And I'm going to grab that deck because it will tell me the truth. I'm jumping in here to let you know that I have these monthly meetups where I talk about tarot, and I try to take your mind in a different direction so you can have a fresh perspective that sort of enlivens your practice and gets you thinking in a new way about the cards or gets you out of a rut. And if you're interested in that, then you can head down below and sign up for my newsletter and get notified of that, or go to my website and check out the calendar. Number 10, the Moon. A deck that casts shadows in its wake. So the Earth, Moon, and Shadow Oracle. I literally have another copy of this still wrapped in the beautiful packaging that it came in case I lose it or something happens to one of the cards. Man, this deck, because it is all about shadow work. Wow, I just can't win for losing today. Because it really is about working with your shadows, it's very intense. Why? I love the color saturation in this one, and I love how just the drawings are so thought-provoking. You have the name of the card, and then you have the keywords that go with it. So this one's Underworld, the Shadow Realm, Reincarnation. This one, the Lotus, the Past, Transcendence, and Evolution. That's just that card, but just look at the color palette. I love that it kind of has a border, but not really. But what makes this so great is the book. When you originally got it, you could buy it without the book. I'm so glad I didn't, because you just need it. You need it for the work that it draws you into. And even days after I've done a reading with this, it's going to cast shadows. It's going to continue to bring things up. I'm going to continue to be doing the work. And it's deep. It's deep. It casts shadows. So the Earth, Moon, and Shadow Oracle would not want to part with this. Next up is the Broomstick, a deck that will whisk you away to another place. And I have chosen the Old Ways Magic Oracle by Naomi Cornock. I have an overview of this. This is also in my 3 best witchy decks. This artwork is amazing. There is just nothing like it out there, honestly. Her work is truly delightful and frightening. And there is so much going on in these cards that you just fall into them and you're taken off into the scenery. You are truly whisked away to this ancient place that almost threatens to swallow you, but at the same time, there's this bizarre recognition of this ancient place. If you are looking for sorry about this being so upside down, a witchy deck to work with, this is it. There's something just so fabulous. I mean, look at this. Look at the Sheila Nagig in there, and just nurture. There's just layer upon layer. The story continues to unfold. You can pathwork into these cards. You're just whisked away into this incredibly magical place. The Spell Book, the deck with the most enchanting guidebook. And I'm not going to show you the guidebook. It's actually in the house. I just brought the deck out here to show you this. But this is by Jessie Huntenberg. She has a channel here on YouTube. There are the backs. The guidebook on this is so good. It is enchanting to me. It is this book that opens up the cards to me in a way that is not necessarily really natural for me. There is such a nurturing aspect to Jessie's take on the cards. I mean, the deck itself is very nurturing. The style of illustration, it's soft in a way, it's feminine. There's a real receptive quality. And so whenever I read the book, I'm really enchanted by this part of myself that is less upfront. This is a very watery deck, and I'm not a very watery person. I can be nurturing and watery. I mean, I have Cancer rising, but yeah, there's something so enchanting about her writing. And this deck is still available. You can get it. And all these decks are listed below, by the way. The Genius Garden Tarot by Jessie Huntenberg. The Vampire, a deck that has transformed your very being, and that is Tarot of the Holy Light. It's by Christine Payne Towler and Michael Dowers. This deck. So when I really was getting back into learning tarot, like for real, like really, really studying the tarot, I picked up this deck, and it's not like anything else out there. It is just filled with all this symbolism, and it's amazing. But what makes it even better and why it totally transformed me was the book that goes with it. They're amazing writers, and the things that they talk about in the energies of the card, like here's strength. It's just not the type of strength that you're used to. And she talks about like the destructive power. I mean, look at this. It's like this. She's got milk coming out of her breasts and like fire, and there's things erupting, and so there were so many things that this deck spoke about, the raw power of inner strength. We talk about inner strength when we talk about the strength card, but the way in which she went into the depths of the essence of what this card is communicating on a really raw and visceral level just changed the way I looked at the cards time and time again with these cards. I was just transformed, and I found myself looking up all the symbols that I was like vaguely familiar with and finding out more about them. And yeah, this just took tarot to a whole new level for me. So again, this is the Tarot of Holy Light. The deck that scares you, it's called the Haunted House. The deck that scares you because it's so scarily accurate. And I actually have two because I was kind of surprised at what came up for me when asking myself this question. This is the Super Lunaris Tarot. And I literally cannot find who this is by, but you can go visit it down below. This deck is just accurate. It's easy for me to read. There's something about it. A lot of it is because I've really grooved working with this tarot, that the Super Lunaris Tarot is that accurate. But I find that I'm just not confused when I read with this tarot. And then I have one other deck that I want to share. And this one kind of surprised me when I was thinking about this. You know, what is so scarily accurate? And it's the Light Seers Tarot by Chris Ann. I do not have the new companion book that goes with this. I'd like to get it. This deck is just so easy to read with. Come on, you guys, down below, let me know. This is the deck I give to new readers, like young readers, because it's so emotive. It's so easy to tell what's going on. I mean, when I think of all the decks out there, this is one of the decks, along with the last one that I'll share, that it's so incredibly easy to read. It's almost like incomparable to anything else out there. The imagery is modern and it's just so easy to read. The guidebook is great. And like I said, there's a brand new one out there that originally came out, I think, with the Kickstarter she did on this one. And I will get it just because I've wanted it for a long time. How many of you agree that the Light Seers Tarot by Chris Ann is just, it's so easy to read. It's spot on. The last deck is the Tombstone, the deck you would take to your grave. And I've shifted in this over the years. Like, part of me is kind of like, oh, it's the Druid craft. But honestly, if I was going to be told that I could only have one deck, it's really hard because part of me is like the Dirty Pam, but really it's Deborah Blake's Tarot, the Everyday Witch. And the reason why I chose this deck as my take to the grave is, first of all, it's a super easy reader. I'm never confused about what's going on. It's got no borders, which I love. It's witchy. I love that. There's a cat in almost every card. There's one card that there is no cat in it. Let me know down below if you know the card that there's no cat in. But also because there's something about this deck that calls me into being just a little bit more playful. And I'm a very serious person. I'm too serious and I get too analytical. And this deck reminds me to not be so analytical, to allow the enchantment of the world to be a part of every reading, that even if I'm looking at something that's really heavy, I can lighten up, you know, put on my witchy hat, enjoy it, stroking my cat, and just run with the images as they are. Also, super easy reader, another deck that I would give to new readers. The book is really great. I would love to have this in a pocket version. I don't know if they have it, but if they did, I would be interested in getting it for my car, or maybe just buying another copy of this. I've actually thought about this deck, buying another copy, because I would never want to not have it. And I do have spare decks that are put aside for decks that I want, and that is definitely this one, the Everyday Witch Tarot. I don't know if you can see, but this is the way my decks are right now, so they're not out. I'm putting up new shelving over here which I haven't done yet. I need to stain the wood that's sitting on the floor here. And if you could see the floor, oh my gosh, can you see the floor? I just totally trashed everything doing this tag, but it was super fun to kind of dig around in my decks and figure out, you know, all the different ways in which these decks speak to me. So let me know your answers down below and what you think about the decks that I've shared with you. And until we meet again, may the perfect deck always be just an arm's length away.